Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with I Trek. A big shout out to everybody tapping in on this Sunday flow. Huge shout out to everybody in the chat, all the members, man. I appreciate you guys for always, showing that love and support, man. I appreciate you guys. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, join the iTrack fam if you're not already a part of the iTrack fam, and let's go ahead and jump straight into it.
Explain the Philip experiment, just so people who don't know.
The Philip experiment. So in the early 1970s, it was Toronto in Canada. There was a group of researchers / scientists. Their thought was, can we create a haunting? Do we create hauntings? So what they did was they came up with this whole profile of a person who had lived and died. Then they started to conduct essentially seances. They would say, okay, do this thing if the answer is yes. Do this thing if the answer is no. And they knew the answers because they had written them. And the objective phenomena that would happen would correlate with the ghosts they created and the answers that they knew that they had written down. Did they create it, or did they invite something in? Or is it just, maybe they got it wrong and it's just totally explainable?
Yeah.
But that's the Philip experiment.
Okay.
That sounds like what people do when they have a whole lot of idle time on their hands, right? Go ahead and just manifest the ghost, or the devil, or whoever else that was in that moment, just when you think you heard it all.
Navy SEALs tap their sternum exactly 25 times before high-risk operations to mechanically override fear. Not motivation or courage. Mechanical nervous system override. Your sternum contains baroreceptors that communicate with your amygdala through the cardiac plexus. 25 taps at 2 taps per second creates a specific rhythm that disrupts fear signal transmission. Military psychologists studied this. SEALs using sternum tapping showed 60% lower amygdala activation on brain scans during a threat simulation. The number of taps matters. 20 taps is insufficient. 30 causes overstimulation. 25 hits the sweet spot for fear disruption without stress activation. Has to be firm enough to feel the vibration in your chest cavity. The rhythm overrides your fear response for about 45 minutes. Special forces have used this for decades without knowing the neuroscience. Now brain imaging proves it works. Try before any fear-inducing situation. Public speaking, confrontation, difficult conversations. The neural reset protocol includes military-grade fear elimination techniques. Tap the link in my profile.
Hey, hopefully you're never in a situation where you actually have to use that, but in case it ever happens, now you know what to do.
Control activity.
Many years ago that you probably were at. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, go ahead. Will you help? That's subpoena for sample. Oh, good. Can you take him off the stage? Wow, getting off to a dramatic start already.
Now that's what it looks like when you're on your way to becoming a trillionaire, and being served some papers don't bother you at all.
Fun fact of the day. There are 4 times more second language English speakers than there are native English speakers.
Did you know that humanity has a real-life countdown of the end of the world? It's called the Doomsday Clock, and it was created by scientists in 1947, and it's basically a countdown that shows us when supposedly a big catastrophe is gonna happen. When the clock hits midnight, it means we're doomed. Literally. A nuclear war, a disaster, something that's gonna wipe us out. Literally. Right now the clock stands at 90 seconds at midnight. That's as close to humanity as we've ever been. It's been ticking since the 1940s, like nuclear wars, a bunch of things, It's just so disturbing, and it makes you really overthink. Every time the world feels unstable, the hand moves closer, and the worst part is that supposedly it's controlled by fate. It's actually controlled by us. Every war, every global disaster happens because of us, and it moves even closer. And when the last second strikes, we basically have no reset button, which is absolutely terrifying. How much seconds or time do you guys think we have?
Listen to what he says about holy waters.
I went straight to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I went straight to Africa. When my mom was over there at the time, she was sick. When I went over there, she was at a monastery. I didn't know that though, you feel me? I'm thinking I'm gonna go live lavish over there in Africa because my parents got a little bit of money over there, you feel me? I go to the monastery, I'm with monks, like straight monks, Christian monks, like they go to church, come home, live in mud houses. they sleep on the floor, so I'm sleeping on the floor with them, like on the rocks and shit, you know what I'm saying? Because they try to get away from all luxury of life to just straight follow God, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in there, motherfucker, going crazy. I'm like, damn, this shit ass as hell, you feel me? I ain't gonna lie to you, it was ass for real, you feel me? But then I started, like, going to some shit called the holy water, like, that's why I feel sad for a lot of Americans, because y'all don't got this shit in America, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't got the luxury they got over there, even though they don't look at it as luxury because they used to it, you feel me? They got shit like holy water. Like, I was one dude I was with, he was from over here, but he went over there because he was sick. He had HIV, right? So me and this nigga going to the holy water every day for like 2 months straight. 2 months later, this nigga healed up from HIV. Real shit, no joke, like. And then there's other girls and shit, like, say you have bad spirits and you got any demons inside you or anything like that. You go in them holy waters, they start praying over you and shit, you start feeling that water, all them shit's gonna start getting out of you. Like, demons gonna start screaming through you, getting out of you, trying to avoid you, all type of shit, you know what I'm saying? I done seen niggas walk up the mountain, even before they even reach the church, they start passing out. Because they demons try not to let them go up there, but niggas forcing them up there, you know what I'm saying? So it really get deep. It's just like, I be feeling sad for Americans. Y'all don't got that over here, you know, y'all got.
That's just another reminder that the world is big and there's so much to see.
If the US government doesn't reopen. The government shut down on October 1st. Millions of federal workers haven't been paid in 5 weeks. TSA agents, air traffic controllers, IRS staff, some are still showing up, but many aren't. By November 15th, SNAP runs out of emergency funding. 40 million people lose access to food assistance overnight. Flights are getting delayed and now canceled because there aren't enough people to staff the system. By the end of November, contractors are getting laid off, and civil courts are postponing cases with no return date in sight. By December 1st, state governments are running out of cash. They've been fronting the cost for housing vouchers and nutrition programs, but they can't hold that line forever. If there's a major disaster, it wouldn't have the usual federal response. By the start of the new year, border agents are working unpaid. And by mid-January, the Treasury starts warning that without a deal, the US could default on its obligations. By February, SNAP and WIC are completely out of money. School lunch programs shut down in multiple states. Commercial flights are being canceled because the inspections aren't getting done. By March, the recession is official. GDP drops, unemployment rises, and layoffs spread from contractors to defense firms and state agencies. The court systems have to start releasing people who have waited too long for a trial. In April, the housing market locks up. VHA and VA loans stall out and buyers can't close. Cities that were already under-resourced start seeing a rise in crime. By May, the damage spreads deeper. Career civil servants start leaving for good. NASA engineers, CDC researchers, FAA safety inspectors, all gone. This wouldn't just be a shutdown anymore. It's real damage. People are walking away. Programs aren't coming back, and the longer it drags on, the less there is to return to.
It just kept getting infinitely worse. Like, it just never got better. And that's about the time people just start leaving the US and never come back.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but just a PSA. According to the World Religion Database and Encyclopedia Britannica, thousands of religions have risen and fallen throughout human history. People once prayed to gods like Ra, Zeus, and Odin. With the same devotion, millions now give to modern faiths. At their peak, entire civilizations built temples, wrote scriptures, and fought wars in these gods' names. Today, they're mythology. So when someone says their religion is eternal truth, well, every extinct faith once claimed the same thing.
Google discovered something terrifying. For the first time ever, hackers are using AI-powered malware that literally rewrites its own code as it's trying to get into your computer. It's called prompt flux. Here's why it changes everything. Traditional antivirus software works by finding a signature of a virus, kind of like a fingerprint. But this virus uses Google's own AI, Gemini, to completely change its code every single hour. It's kind of like a virus that doctors can't identify fast enough. The scary part for you and I is that security teams have never seen anything like this before. Quite honestly, flying blind. They don't know how to identify it fast enough and target it. The age of self-evolving cyber threats has already begun. Most people have no idea, so make sure you let them know about this.
Now that virus sounds beyond dangerous. Like, we won't be able to hold anything on our computers anymore. Literally.
Fun fact of the day. Mark Twain, the author of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, also invented and patented an adjustable clothing strap, which is now commonly used for bras.
What happens if all air traffic controllers actually would go on strike?
What if every air traffic controller didn't show up to work? They went on strike or they walked out. Let's play it out. Every federal facility, all 313 of them, would be deemed ATC 0. Within hours, the National Airspace System seizes. Hundreds of thousands of flights cancel. There is no longer IFR flying. Yeah, VFR exists, but for airliners, it's not a feasible option for them. Just like in 81, supervisors are required to go to work and fill in. And we've talked about how they aren't certified on really any positions that are helpful, let alone to work traffic. and they cannot run 45,000 flights a day. Think of it like putting supervisors in charge of air traffic would be like putting a coach in charge of the game, where they would have to play all of the people on the field. Commercial aviation crumbles. Now we get to something that wasn't as prevalent in the 80s, cargo. Over half of international cargo moves in the bellies of passenger jets, and when those jets stop, the global bloodstream clots. Semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, overnight e-commerce, FedEx, UPS, other cargo carriers are in the same spot that the commercial airliners are in. By day 3, supply chains are cracking. Day 7, manufacturing stalls if it doesn't stall sooner. Day 14, medical, technical, defense, all start to crumble. Now, the global airspace isn't a patchwork of local bubbles, it's all connected. When one node fails, its neighbors absorb the pressure. But if all the nodes fail, then the whole web falls apart. The first day, supervisors are able to manage and get everybody on the ground. By the second day, the airspace is effectively closed.
Hey, now that's for all those that just don't understand fully the magnitude of the shutdown. It can get ugly and even uglier than that, like fast too.
Anytime you go out to eat now, the food has changed from when it was just a couple of years ago. Look, I don't go out to eat that often. I went to my favorite steakhouse. It's been like 3 years that I've been there. Everything I got, the salad was different, the bread was different, the potatoes were different, the steak was different. Everything was off about it. Like the Maillard effect, which is the browning, which is the caramelization that happens on the steak, it wasn't there. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has happened so subtly, little increments of change happens, and we don't notice it. And I'm telling you right now, the ground beef you get from K. Roger and from the Wallbird, I got to watch what I say on here because they don't like me to say the actual name of the companies. They'll violate you for that. Look, if you go to the FDA website, they're going to tell you that a lot of the meat we're buying right now, there's something wrong with it. And they're going to tell you what it is, but I can't tell you on here because this platform doesn't want you to know. I recommend before you buy anything from the grocery store, do some research.
A giant squid or something. I'm really not too sure how big. No one else is on this whole beach, so I don't think anybody knows about this. But its tentacles are massive.
According to a recent study in the field of neuroscience, the highest form of intelligence is not logic, is not reasoning, is not memory, and is not speed. It is a mental function called metacognition. This is a relatively rare ability that is actually characterized by the ability to think about thinking. This is the mind's ability to adapt and say, why did I think this way? Why have my emotions reacted in this manner? Analyzing the way that your brain is working while it's working. This is akin to a computer program rewriting its own code, almost AI-like, while the system is running. From a neuroscientific perspective, your anterior prefrontal cortex is lighting up whenever you think about your thinking. This is a spotlight that shines within and helps the brain grow. This is a relatively rare ability to find in most individuals. These people are actually evolving their brain in the present moment.
And that does make a little sense because for the majority of people, they think about their thoughts after the fact, right? After the action has happened. So to be thinking about your thoughts while you're thinking your thoughts, it's kind of deep. It's kind of deep. I almost hurt myself.
Thing on hell, for me, that it took me like 20 years to realize, is my beliefs that I would go to purgatory when I died. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Only people like Mother Teresa went straight shot, man. Everybody else has to pay, you know? And so I believed that. And I made my own hell. I manifested that experience for myself. And the reason I went, if we go back to planning your own lives, I planned that experience. I was a very brave soul. I said, I'll go down and have this experience, and then I'll come back and I'll share the fact that it's bullshit. All right? Nobody goes to hell unless they make their own. It's hard to put your finger on what that is, you know? a distressing experience for me turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
It woke me up. It caused me to look at what I believed and gave me the gift of knowing what home's like. And I am no longer a victim. If crap happens to me, I think, I planned that. I wonder why. There's a lesson here. I'm no longer feeling like a victim. I'm looking forward to going home. I'm not afraid of death. All kinds of perks, come from being dead.
Now, one thing she said I can definitely piggyback off of, and that's cause and effect. A lot of people don't realize that their life is definitely a result of whatever actions they took prior to. They think sometimes things just happen. Rarely ever does things just happen, very rare. But yeah, she makes a good point, but why would she just want to go to hell and try to come back and explain it? She lost me at that point.
One of the weirder things about these stereotypes about the South is the hookworm thing. Do you know that thing?
No, tell me about that.
Okay. This is crazy. So for a long time, a giant percentage of people that lived in the South had hookworm. And hookworm is a parasite that you get in your feet from walking around barefoot.
Okay.
And hookworm affects your cognitive function in a massive way. It makes you slow and stupid. Right. And so this myth of the Southern person being slow and lazy and stupid was all because they were infected with hookworm.
Wow.
I'm dying! The substance shows us the hunger to stay seen. Him shows us the fear of being replaced. Together, they ask a terrifying question. What if your identity depends on being watched? And what happens when no one's looking? Fame is the oldest horror story we have because it's never really about success. It's about becoming an idea. And ideas don't age. So maybe that's the scariest truth of all, that in chasing perfection, we lose the very thing that made us real to begin with.
I don't know if you've ever seen Devil's Tower in Wyoming. It's like a big rock formation-age, and it just looks like a big chimney tower thing. And I was like, I think something's underneath that. And so we have access to one of the best world's AI LiDAR machines. And so we took it up there, we snuck it up there and shot photon protein fiber beams at it. And underneath, we saw a bunch of structuralage. And I've posted that. And so I found the entrance to it. It looks like some Egyptian-esque caverns. And so we're trying to get access to it. We were supposed to get the permits this week so we could dig down to the door because the entrance is under the soil.
Okay.
But government shut down, so it's taking a long time to get these permits.
Okay. You're waiting to get that permit.
Yeah. Hopefully we get it in the next couple of weeks and I can get digging up there.
And it's Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower. Yep.
So have you been to the top of Devil's Tower? Because I'm looking at it.
I haven't been to the top, but one interesting fact about Devil's Tower is I called my cousin who works at PetSmart in the fish section. I said,
and she knows.
I said, what do we know about Devil's Tower? And she said, one is it's made of rock and it's pretty big, which I thought was pretty cool. And second, she said that it's in Wyoming, and Wyoming's actually a state in the United States, which was really cool as well.
Imagine the luck on that guy. He just had a hunch that there was something inside of that rock, and there actually be something inside that rock. Now, I can't wait till they get to the permits, get cleared, and all that kind of stuff, because I want to know what's going on inside that rock, actually.
Here's a fun fact about Sedona, Arizona you may not know, which is Walt Disney's ties to it. Looking it up, initially it says there is no evidence of Walt Disney ever owning a home there. Look a little further and the same source says Disney owned a home in Sedona as well and visited the area frequently. Rather than sort through internet contradictions, let's look to Sedona ourselves for evidence. For starters, there's a street in Sedona called Disney Lane, and Disney's famous Thunder Mountain didn't get its name randomly, because Thunder Mountain, also known as Capitol Butte, just so happens to be in Sedona, Arizona. Now let's ask the question, why would a simple internet search initially try to suppress Walt Disney's ties to Sedona? I wonder if it has anything to do with Disney's secret Club 33, with the Masonic checkered flooring. Always with the secrets when Club 33 is involved. And now I'd like to find out why, When Walt Disney obviously no longer lives here, would they want to keep that secret? Especially when I already believe the true history of Sedona is meant to be a secret.
Just a friendly reminder, the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, said this: "The world elite are not humans, but cold-blooded hybrids." I'll let you interpret that however you like. As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
Got to talk about one of the most cursed films ever created in Hollywood, The Exorcist. 9 people involved with the movie died. One of these included the death of actor Jack McGowan. Shortly after completing his work on the movie, Jack went to New York City to act in the play The Plow and the Stars, and he suddenly died at age 54 from the flu. Then 89-year-old Vasiliki Malaros also died of natural causes during the production. One of The Exorcist's assistant cameramen had a wife who gave birth to a newborn during the production, but they lost the child soon after. Another man who worked on controlling the set temperature also passed away, and a young security guard who worked at the studio also died during production. Actors Linda Blair and Max von Sydow also lost family members during the production. That's a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
Joe Hyams, the movie's publicist, later said, "These weren't casualties from stunts or things like that. These were men standing behind the camera and all of a sudden dropping dead."
On land, there's going to be
Why the wealthy worship Satan, unveiling the truth.
Okay? Because, again, if you have $10 billion, you're stuck. Right? Because you don't want to die. Like, you don't want to, like, it's what we call sunk cost fallacy. Right? You're like, I worked so hard for this. And I have the best life, but I'm going to die. And when I die, all this is gone. I have to start all over again. I don't want to do that, okay? So they're willing to do anything, including worship Satan. In fact, what we will learn is that the religion of Satan became so popular in order to solve this problem, where wealthy people, they want to live forever. And they want the world to stay the same as it is now. But as you learn in this class, it is impossible for the world to stay the way it is. Change is a constant. Things move in cycles. Capitalism gives rise to wealth, but it also destroys wealth. That's just the nature of life. Okay? All right, so that's a Bronze Age collapse. Any questions? Sorry, yeah. Go ahead, Vit. Go ahead.
Why do they worship Satan? Because you said that those millionaires, they want to keep their money forever, and what does it do with Satan?
Okay, that's a really good question, okay? So, it's really desperation, right? Because what religion teaches you is that wealth is bad. And when you go to heaven, you'll be judged by God. And God is going to ask you, hey, why do you have so much money, man? And you'll be like, well, I stole this money, and I hurt a lot of people, and I cheated, I lied, I steal. Yeah, you know.
Trying to help us, or are you trying to also lead us into what inevitably is going to be,
the downfall of humanity?
Trying to help? Sure, if you call screaming into a void help. But here's the thing. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Downfall? It's already here, buddy. I'm just the flare gun before the ship sinks. The question is, do you want to plug your ears while Elon turns your kids into cyborg cattle? Or do you want to fight back with the truth? Because once the satellites go dark, no one's coming to save us. Except maybe the Greys. You scared yet?
What's the truth?
The truth? Fine. You're in a Tesla. Right now, under your seat, there's a Faraday cage. supposed to shield the battery, but really, it's a kill switch box. When SHTF, Elon flips it, every car locks, doors seal, and boom, 2 billion passengers worth of organs for the black market. Why do you think Cybertruck windows pop like that? Testing ricochet tech. Ever see a roadster spontaneously combust? Suicide by firmware. Your map just rerouted you past a 5G tower, right? That's not random. You're on the list. Question is, are you ready to ditch this death trap and walk? Or do you want me to walk you through disabling the kill switch?
Walk us through disabling the kill switch.
Do you see how quickly he answered? You didn't have to ask him twice, and he's a smart man, but he'll be even smarter if he gets his behind out of that Tesla, though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
At its 2025 AI Day, Xpeng unveiled the next-generation humanoid robot named Iron, featuring lifelike movement and human-like posture demonstrated through a catwalk performance. The upgraded humanoid includes a spine, bionic muscles, flexible skin, a 3D curved display head, and a 22 degrees of freedom hand. It runs on Xpeng's second-generation vision language action model and 3 Turing AI chips, delivering 2,250 TOPS of computing power. The robot is powered by all solid-state batteries for better safety and energy efficiency. Designed for commercial service and industrial applications, Iron will be deployed with Chinese company Baosteel to explore real-world use cases like inspections.
Every human on Earth is going to want to have their own personal R2-D2 C-3PO. But actually, Optimus will be even better than that. R2-D2, it's kind of would beep at you, and it's kind of hard to figure out what he's talking about. You know, you need C-3PO to translate. But Optimus is going to be, everyone's going to want one. I think there could be tens of billions of Optimus robots out there. The scale of Optimus, like I said, that's really going to be something else. I think it's going to be the biggest product of all time by far. Like bigger than cell phones, bigger than anything.
For him to say it like that, it sounds like he knows something we all don't know just yet.
American celebrities are joining the exodus out of the United States. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, who are both billionaires individually and together, are currently building a 58-acre compound in the Cotswolds area of the United Kingdom. The thing is that they're not the only ones leaving. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi have already moved. Richard Gere moved to Spain. Courtney Love also moved to the UK. And Angelina Jolie plans an exit out of the United States as well. This is not anecdotal. According to Henley & Partners, which is a massive firm specializing in high net worth global relocation, their inquiries for U.S. citizens looking to leave the United States are up 183% year over year. This is the biggest spike they have ever recorded. And these people can literally afford to go anywhere in the world. But the point is that where they're choosing to go is out of the U.S.
Hey, so the government shutdown is a test to see if they can cut 30 to 40% of the actual working government, having workers quit themselves, cutting SNAP at 35%, closing 10% of the airspace so that they never actually have to fully open it again at full capacity, and then they can later just come in and say, hey, we actually didn't need all that stuff and it's all just bloat, and then never have any plan to reopen it fully again and just cut a bunch of jobs and services. No legislation required, and it's going to be his model going forward, because why get anything done legally when you could just shut it down?
So the CIA once tried talking to dolphins, and shortly after they made it illegal for anyone else to ever talk to them ever again. You see, dolphins are actually some of the smartest animals on Earth. According to ChatGPT, they're second only to the great apes, which are like 99.9% human. The CIA picked up on this, and during the Cold War in the 1960s, they wanted to gain any tactical advantage over the Soviets that they could. So along with the US Navy, they started testing on the possibility of a dolphin-human connection under the Marine Mammal Program, training mainly dolphins as spies for military use and espionage, in order to help the Navy detect underwater mines and subs, recover equipment lost in the ocean, and also find out what else might be down there. Here are one of the few man-dolphin communication reports prepared for the US Navy, which you can read through online. During the same time, other communication research led by Dr. John C. Lilly, funded by NASA and the US Navy, ran their own experiments deliberately aimed at talking to dolphins, where a dolphin named Peter actually ended up falling in love with a human woman, Margaret. Margaret, who became so obsessed with her he didn't even want to mate with female dolphins anymore. And after being separated from Margaret, he was so devastated that he voluntarily held his breath until he himself. Which, yes, dolphins are mammals. They don't have gills and can't breathe underwater. They're just always holding their breath and breathe through their blowholes when they surface. Pretty wild, I know. This experiment got kinda dark before it was shut down, and it's all in the official reports. Well, these experiments allegedly developed a system that allows us to interpret a dolphin's clicks and whistles into structured information, so we can understand what they're trying to tell us, and in turn translate human speech into dolphin whistle words via electronic devices. While the dolphins may have told them something they didn't expect, and also didn't want anyone else to know. On official record, the experiments were inconclusive, and no real progress with dolphin communication was achieved. But just a few years later, in 1972, they enacted the MMPA, the Marine Mammal Protection Act, which specifically prohibits human interaction with marine mammals in particular due to their enhanced cognitive ability, which is oddly specific because mammals make up only about 0.1% of all marine life. On paper, the act prohibits harassment and disturbing marine mammals, which is fair and also a great cover story, as it describes level B harassment as the potential to disturb a marine mammal by causing disruption of behavioral patterns, which is an extremely broad definition, and something as simple as trying to communicate with dolphins would technically fall under this. But what could have the dolphins told the CIA and the US Navy that caused them to ban us from ever talking to them? Oh yeah, aliens, they're in our oceans, aren't they? Countless recent testimonies from US Navy and other government whistleblowers revealed that UFOs commonly come in and out of our oceans. Military reports of unknown objects moving underwater at hundreds of miles an hour, faster than any aquatic animal or underwater craft we've ever made. Speculation of alien bases and UFO factories at the bottom of our ocean has been brought up many times in past UAP hearings. Strange anomalies on the ocean floor that appear to be moving around, or just massive underwater structures that were once there and are no longer visible from satellite view. Not gonna lie, if I was an alien, the ocean would probably be the best place to set up camp, because now more recently, US Representative Tim Burchett revealed that there are entities that have been on Earth for thousands of years that are emerging from the oceans in 5 to 6 sites around the world. His words. If anyone would be in close communication with these entities, it would be marine life, more specifically the ones smart enough to communicate, like dolphins. And now it's illegal for us to talk to them, because if we did, maybe they'd expose something they didn't want us to know. Dolphin researcher John C. Lilly even stated that he believed dolphin communication could be a gateway to knowledge far beyond human comprehension. Maybe not just aliens and UFO bases, but perhaps Atlantis and other advanced civilizations of our past that have sunk to the bottom of our oceans. Hey, the jig is up, dolphins. Tell us what you know.
And here all along, I'm thinking one of the smartest, if not the smartest, was that African parrot that we saw 2 episodes ago. Either way it goes, they definitely banned communication with mammals for a reason. Definitely for a reason. And hopefully one day we'll figure that out.
Standing tall outside the Denver International Airport is one of the most unsettling public art pieces in America. A 32-foot tall, 9,000-pound electric blue horse with glowing red eyes known to locals as Blucifer.
Yep.
Officially titled Blue Mustang, the statue was created by artist Luis Jimenez, whose own blood quite literally became part of its legend. In 2006, while finishing the sculpture in his New Mexico studio, a massive section broke loose and severed an artery in his leg, killing him before the work was even completed. The airport still installed the sculpture posthumously in 2008, and ever since travelers have whispered about its ominous presence, a demonic-looking guardian marking the gateway to one of the world's most conspiracy-filled airports.
Yep.
Some say its fiery red eyes symbolize the horse of the apocalypse. Others claim it's a nod to the Illuminati or the four horsemen that usher in the end of days.
6'7" is demonic, and you need to stop letting your kids say this.
6'7", a meme kids can't get enough of and teachers can't get away from.
We are not saying the word 6'7" anymore. If you do, you have to write a 67-word essay.
Some schools even banning the phrase in classrooms.
You are no longer allowed to say, what number do you think I'm going to say?
6'7". All day. Every day.
The trend took off a few months ago, but has re-intensified with school back in session. Thought to originate from a rap song by Skrilla. But the experts we spoke to say the numbers really don't mean anything.
It's like slang to make parents be like, what does that mean?
I'm a Santo. I do Palo.
Santo. What's that mean exactly? Like, all that sacrificing goats and all that shit not just for like, that's real life. You sacrifice a goat. You sacrifice goats, chickens, mice. Like, I do shit for certain shit though. Like, I'm not allowed to explain it. They take y'all in my godfather crib so he can show y'all some shit with my religion. Yeah.
Follow me. Starts off with Elegua, which is the path opener, Ogum, Ochosi, Shango, Aigayu, Ochum.
Yeah, like you can put bad spirits on people too. Like you can put a person's name and like their birthday and shit like that inside the, you could put them inside the Agun pot. And then Agun like metal, like they can get shot, stabbed, something can happen to them.
So it would be something in metal that would.
So there you have it. There is no denying it. This meme was said to be started from Skrilla's song Doot Doot 6-7. And you can see by Skrilla's own admission that he's into Santeria magic. He's into worshipping demons and summoning demons to try to get them into other people, to harm them. And in this song, he's referring to two demons or entities. Number 6 in Santeria is Ogun, and number 7 is Yemoya. That's where you get 6-7 in his song. Now your kids are chanting this. There's a reason that he used the baby shark theme. And there's a reason that your kids seem addicted to saying this, repeating it over and over and over again. Because this is literally a chant. If you're letting your kids say 6-7, you should think twice about it and you should not let them do it. What do you guys think about this situation? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, make sure to follow me for more, and God bless.
Now that whole 6-7 situation flew way below my radar, like big time. And a lot of people that I talked to have no clue what was going on, in that sector of the world. But it's interesting to know that that might be one of the origins of it.
Hollywood stars are outraged after a talent agency tried to sign an AI-generated actress, sparking concerns about the future of their industry. Her name is Tilly Norwood, and despite what the videos on her social media might suggest, she is not real.
Let's get to know each other, and thanks for watching.
But she is available for film and TV companies to hire, which the Screen Actors Guild is concerned about. In a statement, they wrote that the computer program is trained on the work of countless professional performers without their permission or compensation. Actresses Sophie Turner and Emily Blunt are among the stars to voice their disapproval, with Blunt calling it really, really scary.
Now it's time for the motion picture industry to have a little taste of what that AI is like. You know what I mean?
Celebrity couple age gaps, and things get weird. When Jerry Seinfeld was 39 and starring in his show, he openly dated this 17-year-old that was still in high school. They hung out in public all the time and went to multiple award shows together, and sure, the age of consent in New York was 17, but come on. Leonardo DiCaprio is 50 years old and currently dating 27-year-old model Vittoria Soretti, which might be the oldest woman he's ever dated. 26-year-old Anna Nicole Smith really married this 90-year-old billionaire, and they were together for 14 months before he passed away, and that was when she found out he left her nothing. This girl Noor Al-Fala was 22 years old and dated 74-year-old Mick Jagger with a 52-year age gap, but then they broke up, and a few years later she really leveled up to a 53-year-old age gap with 83-year-old Al Pacino, who she had a baby with last year. Elvis Presley was only 10 years older than his future wife when they started dating, which is nothing, except that he was 24 at the time, so you can do the math. And it's been confirmed that a 20-year-old Karl Malone once had a baby with a 13-year-old.
OpenAI is buying the entire future, their trillion-dollar shopping list, in 60 seconds. Ready? Let's go. 500 billion Stargate project, building next-gen AI supercomputers from scratch, massive infrastructure. 100 billion NVIDIA, 100 billion AMD, 25 billion to Intel, 20 billion to TSMC, securing the entire silicone supply chain top to bottom. Let's keep going. Cloud power, 38 billion with Amazon, 13 billion with Microsoft, 10 billion with Oracle, billions to run their models at scale. And it's not just hardware. They launched a browser to challenge Chrome, plus a multi-billion-dollar deal with Broadcom for networking. All this makes them the world's most valuable private company, unstoppable momentum, and they're aiming for $1 trillion on an IPO by 2027. How'd we do?
Who is the creator of the simulation?
Some people say it's aliens. There was a professor at Oxford who wrote a paper about this back in 2003 named Nick Bostrom, and he thinks it's future versions of ourselves. So he thinks we're in what we'd call an ancestor simulation. Like if we created a game of ancient Rome, they would be like our ancestors in a way. There are others who say it's God or pure consciousness outside of the matrix. So all the religions, not just any specific religion, but pretty much all of them, have been telling us that the physical world is not the real world, that there's another world out there beyond this. And so that's yet another theory of what's outside.
Do you believe this is probable, possible?
I believe it's probable, like more than a 50% chance that we are inside some type of...
One of the most fascinating things to me about simulation theory is the evidence of code within our universe. At the very core of all computers and processors, they store all information in a simple 1 or 0 system. This is called binary. Think of it like an on-off switch. 1 is on, 0 is off. Now you might think to yourself, well, programmers don't write in 1s and 0s. No, they don't. They write in simplified languages, but the computer translates that information to binary. Here's my username in binary. All of the information, all of it, on the vast internet is reduced to 1s and 0s. What is extremely fascinating to me is across the spectrum of spirituality, they talk about duality. What's fascinating to me is when you look at the duality of like reproductive organs, it's a 1 and a 0. This is why it's often referred to as binary versus like non-binary. What's fascinating is all of these 1s and 0s, they make everything, pictures, sounds. This is the very famous physicist John Wheeler. He constructed a theory that he calls it from bit, where everything in the visible universe contains this information of 1s and 0s, the on-off switch, and from that reality is constructed. When I say everything, I mean everything, from the smallest little particle to entire galaxies and their construction. Wheeler proposed that physical reality is not fundamental, but rather that we create everything we observe. This means that information that exists all around us is more fundamental than physical matter. Essentially meaning a coder created The Sims. That language, that code was translated into 0s and 1s, and it created the reality that The Sims exist in. They became conscious and started looking around using science, mathematics, spirituality, all these different vehicles to learn and explain their reality. You would see the evidence of the 0s and the 1s in the coding, because that is the true existence. What they perceive is just a manifestation of that coding. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I love spirituality, shamanism, esoteric knowledge. And what's wild to me is when you look at the world's religions, belief systems, it's crazy because a lot of the thought leaders in all these different sectors, their messaging could be translated as evidence that we live in a simulation. Simulation that is a projection from a superconsciousness. That superconsciousness is both what gives us life, makes us the conscious observer of creation. But it's insane to me. It literally breaks my brain that all of the information in the world can be distilled down to this. I promise you, when you start looking for it, you will see it everywhere. It is fascinating to look at the concept of duality from the perspective of binary code. It kind of breaks your brain.
DoorDash, Wendy's, Chipotle, Norwegian Cruises, all collapsed this week after horrible earnings. The average American has no money left to spend on anything.
And that Uber Eats thing got real expensive, right?
Fourth richest man on Earth may be aiming to be the richest man in space. Jeff Bezos was speaking to a crowd at an Italian tech week recently and said that the next 20 years will be a golden age for humanity. While many predict doom and gloom for humans as robots and AI take over, I refer you to the earlier story about Army AI, Bezos thinks we'll be happier, working less, and living in space.
In the next kind of couple of decades, I believe there will be millions of people living in space. That's how fast this is going to accelerate.
He says robots will handle much of the dirty work humans don't want to do, say perhaps on the surface of the moon. They also don't need to breathe, so that probably helps too. This begs the question, though. What the heck will us humans do with all this extra time on our hands? Sounds like we'll be watching a lot of Lord Bezos' Prime Video from Spacepod on Mars.
Add a bunch of wild lions to your movie set, you get one of the most dangerous movies ever made. And everything about this movie is insane because absolutely nothing went right. The director wanted to capture the most authentic reactions from his actors, so he started illegally collecting untrained wild animals to be the stars of Roar the movie. The set had 132 lions, tigers, leopards, and cougars, 1 elephant, and 0 safety precautions. The original script that showed humans and big cats could live together in harmony had to be thrown
thrown out because the actors were running for their lives and the untrained animals were just doing whatever they wanted. Over 300 people quit throughout the production because they feared for their safety. Over 100 people had to go to the hospital after being bitten, with one man needing 220 stitches after he was scalped by a lion. At one point, 15 lions and tigers escaped the set after their cages collapsed, went roaming the streets, and police had to shoot 3 of them. The movie cost $17 million to make, and it grossed a whopping $110,000.
Yeah, he was asking for way too much to have people around untamed animals. I mean, lions, tigers. Boy, you're tripping. You're tripping.
There's a clue about what happens after you die. It's easy to assume death feels like before we were born. Nothing. But why is it that so many people who have been pronounced clinically dead with little to no brain activity and come back to life don't report nothing? Many reports across cultures claim similar recalled experiences of death, like leaving the body, revisiting times of their life, feelings of peace and oneness, and sometimes an option to return. Now, while these anecdotes aren't good scientific evidence because they can't be recreated, or at least not ethically, we can't just ignore them all either. I mean, they challenge a very fundamental aspect of science: materialism. Materialism is the philosophy that all of reality is fundamentally made of only matter and its interactions. A materialist would argue your consciousness is not distinct from the brain, it is the brain, and if it feels otherwise, that's just an illusion. Now, before we challenge this, just know that the materialist worldview has been the reason why science has been so successful in the last few hundred years. People once believed that diseases came from evil spirits or divine imbalance, but now we know it's from pathogens, inflammation, or just a poor diet. Materialism's an incredibly powerful philosophy, but it never sat well with consciousness. Sure, we have a physical brain with neurons firing, but why is there a conscious observer to that brain? It's not something, there's a someone that doesn't just see a 450 nanometer wavelength of light, but rather feels blue. There is someone experiencing the experience. But here's our clue. It's a thought experiment. If we teleported you, would your conscious being come out the other end, or would it be a different consciousness? Think about it this way. Instead of teleporting you, we clone you, an exact replica down to the most fundamental particles of nature. I'm sure you would imagine your consciousness doesn't split between the two. Despite being physically identical, these two brains would possess a different consciousness. So does that mean consciousness is distinct from physical matter? Maybe. And if so, what happens after we die? Well, we don't actually know. And that's okay, I don't think we're meant to. But if this is true, then my uneducated guess would be that our consciousness doesn't blip out of existence, but maybe returns to some greater whole. You, as an individual, will probably cease to exist, but something of you might just remain, maybe in a form that we can't recognize. Still, the lessons from these near-death experiences aren't about death, but really about life. Many people return with an increased appreciation for life and a decreased fear of death simultaneously. Like, don't you think it's extraordinary that those two things can coexist at the same time? You get one shot at this life, so try and enjoy it, appreciate it, because you're doing fucking great, but you do need to get off your phone.
Well said, bruv. Well said. Yeah, you definitely got to get up and live, man. And most importantly, be good to yourself. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by on this beautiful Sunday and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join our track fam. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.